Hi everyone, my name is Masud Rahman and I'm working as an economist for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. At this point in the course, you should have a good understanding of what green entrepreneurship is about, and you will have gotten a basic understanding of many tools used by green entrepreneurs on their journey. You know that running a business requires managing operations on a day-to-day basis without losing sight of the big picture of your green business objectives. In this lecture, we will talk about the basics of developing an operational and management plan that can help you plan the actions that need to take place to keep your business going, and the appropriate conditions for the company to function correctly. In your year zero of the business, you have to dive headfirst into the planning and validation of your idea. So the first question is, how do you plan the structure of your organization? Take a deep breath and start by listing what types of work or activities could ideally exist in an organization like yours. What type of skills could help you make your business shine? Now, describe these in the broadest sense possible, and you will have completed the first step to your organizational structure planning. Ideally, you might find some of the following categories like marketing, research, production, finance, management, public relations, and so on. Now you should think about optimizing the workflow and divide it into the roles in the most efficient way possible. Once you've determined the functional roles, consider making a list of all the skills you will need your colleagues in these roles to have in order to perform the tasks well. Next, you will have to identify how each of these colleagues will be contributing to the growth of your revenue or your business. Finally, look at all of your projections together and identify how many people you realistically need for each role to properly execute all of these tasks. Once you've done that, you'll now be able to budget for the workforce you will need for your organization. Now that you have your organizational structure completed, focus on planning for your expenses. You will incur direct costs related to goods sold. At the same time, you will also incur overhead expenses. While it might be easy to identify the cost of hiring your employees, capital and overhead costs are much more difficult to figure out. Let us try to unbundle this mystery by breaking these costs into two categories: fixed and variable costs. Fixed costs will mostly be expenses which you must pay to your creditor regardless of any revenue generated. Whether you are in business or not, you must pay these expenses. Such expenses can include rent of factory, warehouse, and machineries. There will be plenty of other overhead expenses like utilities, shipping, taxes, insurance, all of which you have to take into account. At the same time, there are other expenses which are incurred only when you produce goods or provide services. These expenses can be direct labor, cost of raw materials, etc. A third category is sometimes introduced, which is known as semi-variable expenses. These are expenses that are incurred in steps or at certain production stages. For example, if you have a delivery truck that can transport 100 products in each go, even if you transport 50 products, your cost of delivery will be the same as delivering 100 products. This is an example of a semi-variable or a stepped cost. Another semi-variable cost could be the cost of additional machine maintenance for every 50 hours of continued production. Once you've identified all your fixed variable and semi-variable costs, it is time to sum them up and express them in terms of operating expenses. Once you add up all of the expenses that will be required to operate your business, you should draw up a table to see how much cost you will incur to run your business every month. This will dictate your capital requirements, be that every month or over the next few years. After all the planning and validation has been done, now is the time to move on to execution. This is the right time for you to flesh out your management model. Think about what your organizational goals are, what impact you would like to bring to your beneficiaries. It is important to have this philosophical discourse so that you can set up the mission and vision for your business and start hiring your dream team and delegating tasks to them according to their roles and responsibilities. While you set the internal rulebook for your business, you must also look outward and design a playbook for how your business interacts with the external stakeholders. As your employees will represent your business to the rest of the world, remember to set roles and expectations on how to interact with customers and with your suppliers. Your green business is only sustainable if the backward linkage for your business is also sustainable. Spend some time reviewing your business policies and where you source your products or raw materials from. Is everything that you do green? Is everything that you do sustainable? Ask questions like this to help you explore gaps which may be ignored as you get busier by the day managing your growing business. Of course, no business operation plan can be managed successfully without a feedback loop. Invest some time into identifying performance metrics. Treat these as your indicators of success and start monitoring them from year zero in your business. They will tell you how far you have come or where you're making mistakes. Use this monitoring plan as a way to teach yourself how to improve your business and reward you and your team on a job well done. This was a bright insight into a few important things to consider when developing an operation and management plan. At this point, I'll leave you to practice putting together a management plan for your business. Good luck, everyone.